Good morning. Thank you for joining us today as we explore data integration with OneCard Data Management Engine. I appreciate you all joining us this morning. Just a little bit of housekeeping. This webinar is in listen-only mode. If you'd like to ask any questions, please just browse to the GoToWebinar control panel. You'll see an area listed as questions. Simply type in your questions there, and we will be able to answer them throughout the presentation, but we will allow some time at the end to answer all of your questions. We also will be recording this webinar, and it will be posted online at our website, www.onecard.com. That's the number 1, CARD.com, underneath the resources area. So I'm Fred Emery, Director of OneCard Sales with Heartland, and joining me today is Brian Adolph. He is the SwiftData co-founder, and we'll be talking today about data integration, the importance of data integration, and the OneCard DME. We will cover a brief overview of who Heartland is for those that are not familiar with Heartland. We will also do a quick review of OneCard use, where you can utilize the OneCard system, some areas that it can help you in. Discuss the difference between transaction and data integration. Set them aside so that you have a good base knowledge of what those two different types of integration are. We'll discuss the importance of OneCard data, the data itself, and the importance of bringing that data in properly to the OneCard system, review the OneCard DME or Data Management Engine, and then of course take any questions or comments that you have. So let me tell you a little bit about the Heartland OneCard system. It is a modular solution to meet all campus card related needs. We do presently have over 200 institutions that utilize the Heartland OneCard across the United States and Canada. We are a single vendor, single database structure solution that is available in SQL as well as Oracle. We provide you the choice of either database. We really stand behind a transparency in pricing philosophy, so that our pricing is very transparent. What we tell you one day will be the same the next day and a month from now and what have you. We're fine with providing our pricing list to folks so that you see across the board that what we offer is standardized and the same between clients. OneCard does offer an open architecture and design that will allow you to integrate with countless systems that you may be using on your campus already. And we do provide a number of mobile solutions for both your students and administrators. Now, just a little bit about Heartland. Heartland was founded in 1997. If you're not aware of who Heartland is the 5th largest payment processor in North America. What I mean by a payment processor, our core business is card transactions. We work with not only colleges and universities, but retail locations, restaurants, doctor's offices, small businesses to allow them to accept credit and debit cards as a form of payment in their locations. We provide the secure solution that will allow those transactions to process over a network and take off the funds accordingly. Visa, MasterCard, Discover, Amex. That is our core business, card transactions. We have over 3,000 employees, over 300,000 merchants, 2,000 of which are colleges and universities. We're endorsed by over 250 associations. And in 2014, we processed more than 3.3 billion transactions, which equaled more than $122 billion in volume. As I mentioned, our core business is card transactions, and we bring this knowledge and this expertise to our clients within the OneCard system as well. Just a little bit about our OneCard team. We have an average of 20 years of executive management team experience, an average of 18 years of experience for the leadership team. We have an industry-leading client support team with over 50 team members and employees that are dedicated to the OneCard system with a complete focus on service excellence. We try to go above and beyond in meeting the needs of our clients in the area of service, and are always looking at ways that we can help improve upon our service and our product to our client base. Now, OneCard will offer you solutions across your entire campus. Anything you really think of that you can use the card for, your OneCard, your ID card on a campus, Heartland is able to provide through our direct modules and solutions, or through integrated partnerships, whether it's access and security or activities and event management, bookstore, print management, vending, laundry, point of sales and dining solutions, parking and mobile applications. We have modules as well as integrated partners to offer those solutions to you. So let's delve into the OneCard system, and more importantly, data integration, so that we're all on the same page as what the OneCard system can do for you and how you can handle data and integrations within the solution. As you look at a college or university campus, there's multiple pieces that tie into the OneCard system. Perhaps you're using it for classroom attendance, laundry or vending transactions, maybe parking with a third-party parking system, assigning meal plans, or adding an access control to get into a lab that's associated with the class a student is taken, or a residence hall. These may be from direct modules and software provided by Heartland with hardware provided by Heartland, or from third-party systems. But taking that data, giving those privileges to the cardholders, assigning the balances or the meal plan that a student can utilize, can be a task that is pretty large. And might be difficult to manage on an ongoing basis. But you're having all these places touch the OneCard system. So you need to have the ability to communicate to these third-party systems to pull the data together and allow those privileges and financial transactions to process properly. Now, when we look at the OneCard system, at a base level, there's a couple of different types of integrations. One would be on the transaction side, and we'll discuss that first in a few moments. And the second would be data or system integration, where student data and privileges or logic is exchanged with the OneCard system. Now, looking at transaction integration, that would be the base third-party systems that want to accept the card for a privilege verification as a form of payment. We do this through our standard web service API. We just ask a third-party company, maybe it's a printing company or a point-of-sale solution that is used in dining, to sign a non-disclosure agreement. We provide them with a standard web service API. Once we provide them with that API, we also provide them with the sandbox that they can do testing. They have direct access to our engineering team to ask any questions about the integration work that they need to do. We then certify them against our sandbox, our test bed, to make sure the transactions are processing properly. We certify that they are, and then it's available for release to any client that utilizes or that system or wants to utilize that system. We've built a large group of standard integrations with many companies that are out there, such as Missouri Books, Nebraska Books, Follett, Papercut, Pharos, Volante Systems, MyPhoto. All of these solutions have standard integrations to OneCard that are available for you. And most of these are transaction-based. Sequoia, I forgot to mention them. So if you're utilizing a point-of-sale solution or a print solution or a transaction-based solution that you would like to accept the OneCard, you would use our web service API for those transactions to process, our standard integration tools. Now, as we move into data integration, we go beyond that point. Data, in my opinion, is the core of the OneCard system, and integrating to data sources is extremely important. Data to me is kind of like a building block, a Lego as an example. Legos as an example. I personally, I love to build things with Legos, and that's probably because my son does. So he makes me build them with him, and I enjoy it quite a bit. Quite a bit. We built those some pretty intricate things with Legos, such as trains, trucks, buildings, cityscapes. But to start out, they're just a bunch of bricks and pieces. Sort of like data when you're looking at it. Data is just information that needs to be sorted and structured properly, put together properly to reach its fullest potential and use. Now, you can sort that data and build all types of things, but the data needs to be constructed properly. My children always like to build really high towers with their Legos, but they sometimes don't build a base. I don't know if any of you have ever done this, but when the tower gets too heavy or too high, it falls over and can break apart. It's not solid. This is like data as well. Having that solid base of data will help prevent things from falling over, help that higher tower to sustain the weight of all the transactions that are going through. So what I like to do is build a base, layer those bricks, and create a strong foundation for what I'm building. This way you can push on it, add more on top, and it's useful. It holds up to the stress and does not fall over. That strong foundation keeps everything in order and solid and moving forward. Data in OneCard is the same type of a thing. You need good data coming in so your transactions process properly. If your data is not in sync and you have bad data or incomplete data, you can't manage your privileges or payments properly or as easily. It becomes harder for card administrators, such as yourself, to assign meal plans properly, make sure only those that should attend the football game can use their card for entry, and limit who gets into the residence hall. Managing these privileges and the source of the data into OneCard needs a good foundation of data and a continuous, efficient process. Now, this is where the OneCard Data Management Engine, or DME, comes into place. The DME is a data integration platform that automates the exchange of cardholder data, assignment, and management of privileges in the OneCard system and other connected third-party systems. It's a tool that helps us to create the base of data and continuously update that data as needed for improved efficiency of operations. It's designed to help campus card administrators work smarter and automate the data management tasks. A little tongue-tied this morning. I apologize for that. So let's look at why using the OneCard DME is an improvement. Well, prior to the OneCard DME, most campuses would use a flat file data exchange. Many of our competitors, as well as Heartland, are able to accept those flat files to update accounts and to add privileges and whatnot through various utilities. Heartland has one called Mail. This allows us to accept these flat files and bring them into the OneCard systems. While these programs like Mail do their job well and have been used for many years, we now need to evolve to the next level. There's more and more data that needs to come into the OneCard system. The systems have grown in their importance on campus and to the touch points that are out in the field. We're connecting to more and more systems than we have in the past. And there's more data that needs to come into the system and more use of that data beyond just the transactions for, let's say, data analysis or data mining. So, these flat file exchange have a degree of limitations in their architecture. The logic needs to be created and managed by the campus with the flat file system. But when you bring in the OneCard DME, that logic is now incorporated into that product. So it can take a lot of time and effort of the IT personnel when you're doing flat file exchange. OneCard DME can change that and reduce the manual manipulation of data that's done with flat file exchanges. By connecting directly to your various systems of record, such as your ERP or student information system, your housing system, and other authoritative sources of data, the OneCard DME eliminates the need for someone or more than one person on your campus to create a text file, a database script, or any other manual import process to send over the changes, the deltas, or the updates to the OneCard system or third-party systems like another door access system that you may be using if you're not using Heartland's core access control solution. The OneCard DME eliminates the need to process changes to the OneCard system on a manual basis. When you look at flat files for those data exchange tasks and the creation of those flat files, there's a couple of problems really with them, and why moving to an engine, which we'll discuss even more in the next few minutes, is important. Flat files are inefficient, they're not dynamic, and are not a real-time process usually. It can be very labor intensive to create these files for data exchange and to build the logic into them to get the proper information into OneCard so that your base foundation of data is solid to build upon. There could be errors that occur, lots of room for error at multiple points. I mean, it's being done by humans, and we're creating those file exchange formats. So that can really provide a couple of different points of error that occur. And of course, with data demands increasing, there's greater responsibility for accurately updating and modifying files. So let's look at the OneCard DME, that data management engine, and see really what it is and what it does. So the OneCard DME is pretty much a middleware that sits between the OneCard transaction database and your other connected systems, creating a bi-directional integration to each system. An encrypted database is set up to take data from various systems and exchange them with OneCard and keep all systems updated properly. It's used to assign privileges and use the logic that is needed as part of your business rules to assign those privileges or add funds to an account, assign a meal plan, and such, so that your transactions are then going to the OneCard system and finding that proper data to validate that privilege or that financial transaction. It's a managed outsourced solution, so you tell us the business rule that you want. We'll ask you various questions to define that business rule, and then we'll work to configure it. So, for example, assigning access rules to students in a certain biology class that has a lab, or assign or change a meal plan based upon assignment from the ERP system. This extends beyond the OneCard, though, if you have third-party systems in place, such as various access or housing systems. It brings the data from multiple systems, including OneCard, together, which allows for greater data analysis. You get a better picture of student patterns and student social patterns. So as you can see here, the OneCard DME is communicating to the ERP system, to various badging solutions if you're not using the OneCard ID badging solutions, to third-party door access solutions, housing and scheduling management solutions, library systems. It will take that data, build the logic within the OneCard DME as part of that business rule, update OneCard, and then update the other systems. This allows your data to consistently be in sync and the privileges assigned where they need to be in the correct solution. The file exchange in the past was directly into OneCard. If you're using third-party systems, you'd have to update them as well. Now there's a centralized repository as part of OneCard with the OneCard DME that'll take that data and update other systems. So it goes beyond just OneCard data management into full data management for the campus. The OneCard DME has been built collectively between our friends at SwiftData, Brian's on the phone with us, and our engineers, and is based upon the Pinwheel framework that SwiftData has developed. Our DME is directly connected to the OneCard database and is not using an API or anything of that sort. It's designed to be a connected core piece of our OneCard offering, like our other modules such as access control, dining, financial transactions, recreation, event management. It uses the same processes as the rest of the OneCard system. Like any other OneCard module, you can license the OneCard DME directly from Heartland. So this streamlines the process of implementation of the OneCard DME and really brings together the whole picture in one data management engine. So what are some of the benefits of the OneCard DME? Well, it can help you reduce operating expenses. There's one company handling all the data integrations, so that can help you reduce those tasks as well as expenses associated with those tasks. You can eliminate bad and duplicate data that is caused by human error, along with security risks that are involved in that. When we all, us peoples, get involved in taking the data and put it into OneCard, we need to give access to that data, and that can open up a security risk. Someone now has access to various data points. Whereas if we automate it and do it through computer systems, through programs that are set up with business rules to manage these exchanges of data, it removes that human factor or that the possible points of errors and what access they have for security. It can reduce the use of disparate shadow data systems. Some campuses will set up multiple data systems to contain those data elements and try to bring it all together. This consolidates it into one location. Increased time savings. You're not having to utilize your IT personnel or your own time as a campus card manager to create files and move them over and make sure everything is in sync. If you need to add a meal plan, it will come automatically. A meal plan is changed, it'll change it automatically in OneCard and adjust balances accordingly and remove people from different access rules as they change rooms and whatnot. This definitely saves a lot of time for your staff. And it allows you the ability to replace an existing system without needing to rewrite those data integrations. Let's say you're using a particular housing solution now or an access control solution that you need to update account cardholder data with rules for access to different doors, and you decide that you want to change solutions. With the DME in place, you can change out that third-party system and use a plugin to now communicate to the next system that you use. Your business rules are still in place. The ability to update those accounts is still in place with who gets access to what locations. You're just now connecting it to a new transaction system for access control or a new housing solution or what have you. And it gives you a lot of peace of mind. If there's a problem with the exchange of data, there's one number to call for support. That if you have any issues or need to change anything, just let us know, and then we're able to assist you. Just one number to call. Now, what I'd like to do now is look at a couple of use cases. And Brian, please, by all means, jump in on these. You did a lot of the work on the setup of these campuses with us. So, I'll go through and do a general description, but add anything that you want, of course. At Albright College, one of our newer clients, they're using the OneCard DME to streamline and automate their process of managing charge balances in OneCard. They allow their students that are in good financial standing to purchase food at 4 different locations on campus using credit within their OneCard. There's a need to stop this privilege for those students who are no longer in good financial standing. With their previous campus card provider, it was a manual and cumbersome process for the accounts receivable office. Now, as they transitioned over to Heartland's OneCard, they took advantage of the DME to create a streamlined process that eliminated the burden on the accounts receivable office in maintaining these charge accounts. So it all happens in a automated, streamlined fashion, and they're not having to spend a lot of time with going and shutting folks off that are no longer in financial good standing for those credits that are allowed and what have you. Did I hit that all right, Brian? Did I leave anything out?
No, that was great.
Hey, look at that. Great, thank you very much. Now, moving on to the next case study, another one of our more recent campuses that have joined up with Heartland is Ripon College. Now, they use the DME, which I'm sure a lot of campuses would want to utilize this function. When I was at Hofstra, I used to do this, but it was in a more manual process with the lists and updates of the accounts and through our flat file exchange when I used to work for Hofstra managing the card system. What Ripon College is doing is they're using the DME to automate the process of early arrivals for issuing meal plans. So let's say their athletic teams, like the football team, comes in early for training before the fall semester begins. This allows them to add the appropriate meal plan and residence hall access prior to the semester start in a non-manual basis, in an automated fashion. So as somebody is marked as an early arrival student, it can then add in these functions that are needed, these privileges and permissions to their OneCard account so that they can access them as needed without having to do a lot of manual updates to those accounts.
Exactly, that's right. So the core OneCard DME automates all of your normal day-to-day of, like as Fred was saying, you get a meal plan in whatever your ERP system is, your student information system, or you're getting some data that's in your housing, your residence system. That means those two things together means this person can eat this meal or open that door. So that's what we call the standard OneCard DME. These two use cases are just showing you examples of the edge cases. And what we often find when we go and install the OneCard DME is, we automate what you have, and you go, wow, that's amazing. You took away all this work we used to do. And then we start finding that you ask the questions of, wait, can we do this? Can we do this? So that early arrivals was a perfect example where they didn't even think about that. And then they say, wow, this is what it does. And they say, we have these issues. And then we start pinpointing, going around, okay, what manual work are you doing? What other departments are now being affected by your OneCard system that may not in the past? Similar case with Albright. I mean, that was a very specific thing that they needed. So they had a use case beforehand and said, we were doing this interesting thing manually. And in that case, the DME is being used to automatically post back to in their case, Power Campus student information system. So as Fred said earlier, this is a truly bi-directional integration process that you just can't get with any other kind of flat file interface programming.
Thanks, Brian. Well, now we'll move on to questions if anybody has. You will see here our website. That's where the webinar will be posted once it's been processed from recording. And my email address that you can always email me if you have any other questions that come up afterwards. But by all means, right now, if you have any questions that you'd like to ask, just please go over to the GoToWebinar control panel in the questions area and type them in, and we'd be happy to answer them. I do see one question that's come in already, asking if we're going to be building an interface with Barnes & Noble. The answer to that is yes. That would be more of a transaction integration. Barnes & Noble has eluded us for a little while in the past, but they've made some changes in the way they're dealing with partners where there's a web service now that's available for us to integrate to, and that is actually in process. I don't have a release date yet for that, but I do know it's in the engineering queue. Um, I can get back to you on that, Renee, with the timeline for when that's expected to be done or where it is in our engineering priority list. But that is something that we've discussed with them more recently, and that you can utilize once it's released. Does anything change with Genzabar EX and being able to use this, or is this more generic that we can use this? I think that the integration with the Genzabar, the OneCard DME, is the best tool to use for that integration and is what it was designed for, integrating to those ERP, student information systems, to build that logic, get the data into OneCard, and assign those privileges. Brian, is there any real change with
I'm not sure I
that?
understand the question in terms of change, but yeah, it works. Honestly, Genzabar EX is actually probably the best system that the DME works with. If you want to get super technical on it, so we have sprocs that are built specifically for EX. And if you're talking about changing within Genzabar, for anyone else that has Genzabar that may have EX or CX that will eventually upgrade to JX, it works the same way with JX as well.
So this would be the tool that you'd want to use to integrate with Genzabar. It is generic to use with multiple systems. There are hooks into, or plugins, shall we say, is probably the right term to use, to other ERP systems. Genzabar is one of them, and this would be the perfect solution for you to exchange data with Genzabar for OneCard.
So the OneCard DME was developed. It literally can work with any system of record, so long. And we call the OneCard DME connecting the systems of records. That's your authoritative data source. On almost every campus, that is your ERP or your student information system. But if you have a spreadsheet that has some kind of important data on it, that's the authoritative piece. I mean, we need a CSV file, but we pull that in. So the DME is looking to pull raw data in from these authoritative sources. Just an example for any of those on the thing that do have EX of what the capabilities, these bidirectional capabilities. There is a campus using the DME that takes attendance from a handheld reader, that the DME pulls transaction history and actually posts that directly into for the Genzabar folks, I think it's the PIRT_ACCT, the participation activity table. So the DME can post directly back into your student information systems as long as you give it a place to go. And from that, for example, students receive credit based on the number of events they attend there. So the DME does all the math, all the calculations, and it automates the process going that way, which is that next level of tons of time and money savings.
The next question is, to integrate with Banner, do you need Luminous?
No.
Okay, that's just a simple answer then. No, we can integrate with Banner, but Luminous is not needed for the.
No. So in the case of Banner, in the case of a lot of these, when the installers go on and the implementation team talks to you, is they'll say, because this is a customized, or we like to call it a custom tailored approach, where we say, what do you want to do? What are your business rules? And then where's the data to do those business rules? So we're always looking for raw data, where you just give us the data and then the DME processes those business rules. In some cases, you'll say, no, you can't have access to this data. You will create an intermediary table, for example, or it'll be a static table. I mean, we work with some student information systems that don't have an ODBC compliant database. So in that case, unfortunately, we are pulling files, but that's okay because we're still able to process those rules. So in the case of Banner, what we have, the implementation team, is a set of example views that we've been doing for many, many years. So oftentimes we're going to ask for a view to your system, but really it just is, it's all data to us. So as long as it's available and ideally has an ODBC compliant database, the OneCard DME can connect to that database and pull in whatever fashion you request us to do that. Just another quick example, another school using a DME is going all through Active Directory. We usually don't like to do that, but they wanted everything Active Directory. So all the meal plans, all the actually the door access rules is all AD, and that school did a lot more of the work that the OneCard DME would normally do, but that's just how the IT department wanted to set it up. And they're thinking, and I actually like it, it's very smart, is that all these staff and faculty members that need to allow students to get into doors at certain times, they're just going into Active Directory, which is something they're used to doing. So what the OneCard DME does is allows you to expand your services and do more with your data without having people, your staff and faculty, to learn new software. So what we're always looking for is what can we use that people are already used to using.
Okay.
That's it.
Excellent. Next question is, does the DME replace Perl scripts and batch files for semester start-end tasks? Is it schedulable?
Heck yeah. That's exactly what it does.
Don't get crazy there, Brian. Absolutely, that's great. That's the whole point of the DME, is to replace those manual tasks, those scripts, and those batch files. There's still some tasks in OneCard that you would use our task scheduler for, like setting an end of semester or end of month statement flag or end of day flags, those type of things that are just normal within OneCard. But this removes all of those scripts and batch files for adding meal plans, adding access rules, updating accounts with expiration dates, and all those functions. Now, on the schedulable part, Brian, a lot of that stuff can be done real time, though, right? It's real time. As you release a person that their meal plan is valid, you can assign at that point, or can you also say, okay, don't start those meal plans don't assign them till a certain date? Both.
Yes and no. This is where it all depends on what do you want to do, how is your data set up, is there data available for it. It's not a true real-time process due to the architecture of the DME. So as you saw in the one picture, I mean, you didn't get too many technical details in this, but feel free to contact Fred if you have more specific questions and we can help you out. There is a database. It's an encrypted SQL database that sits separate from OneCard DME. The closest thing it resembles, if there are any IT folks, is an enterprise service bus. So that database is pulling that raw data from your SIS, your ERP, your housing system, if you have a third-party badging system, if there's any other source of data, your room scheduling system, that gets pulled into the database. The DME programming processes the business rules. So that's what the business rules are, and then that gets pushed out to the OneCard database as updates are needed. And it will get pushed out if you're not using Heartland for door access, you have a third-party door access system, or you have a library system, or you have multiple door access systems, which is the case sometimes. So anything where you want to control privileges and changes, the DME database pushes those updates out as needed, as opposed to in the past where you were bringing in all that changes and the processing happens on the transaction server side, which can slow down. I don't know if you felt it with this system, but other systems that use something similar, can slow down your system because it's processing data. So the DME removes that process and pushes out those updates. So because of that, it's in near real time. So every couple of minutes, the DME is pulling your raw data, processing it, and then pushing it out every couple of minutes. So in some cases, literally 2 minutes is the change. So real time enough that you make a change and the person walks to the door or the meal plan, the reader that you can get in. I just want to clarify.
And it really allows, the DME is really configurable, highly configurable. So depending on how you want to manage your business operations and those rules, you can configure it accordingly. Aleutian Banner. Brian, is there anyone that's launched with Banner at this point with the DME, or is that still in process for, let's say, something like maintaining meal plans?
Yes, there are schools using Banner with the DME.
Excellent. Have we worked with OrgSync before?
Not with SwiftData, but very familiar. And that's one of those questions is what do you want to do? What do you want to do with it? So in a lot of times, if that's your system of record, then sure, we can pull that data. Also, the DME can pull data from any system. Fred touched on briefly how you can use the DME and the database for analytics and business intelligence. So any system where you have data, you can pull it into that, and it creates a static history of a student's social activity, pulling data from OneCard transactions, access transactions, org sync if you have club attendance that you're taking there. But in the same token, if you're talking about org sync for giving privileges, it's just another what we call them as plugins to the system. So with the OneCard DME, there are plugins to various different third-party access vendors. But with the OneCard transaction system, it's actually built as part of that DME. So I think all my answers are more questions for you, but feel free to get in contact and we can get into more specifics.
Well,
Great question.
that's part of the beauty though of the DME though is as we come across new systems or systems that folks want to connect to and create a more automated process, we can then explore that and work with that company to create those plugins. So it really allows us to move forward with adding hook points or with these plugins to different solutions that we may not have been able to do in the past. It really opens up the door to a whole new world of systems to exchange and to add into OneCard as partners.
Correct. The DME is built as a neutral platform to connect to all these systems. And as Fred said, there's always new things coming in. For example, a Heartland OneCard client came to us and it hasn't put it in yet, but they want a connection or a plugin to their SMS alert notification system, which we've never done before. And I said, I don't think you need us, to be quite honest. I think do this. They can get that information a lot easier. There's a way to do this without paying for this piece of it. And he said, you know what? I'm one guy, one man show in IT, and I don't have developers, and I don't want to do it. And it's not worth it. It's worth it to pay you to do this. And I said, okay. And so we went to that company and have their API, and we can do what he wants. So there's that component of it too. Is how what do you want to outsource, essentially? What can you take away off your plate? And even at the base standard of just automating OneCard, it's in tremendous value with what it has. But there's all these other little things that come up that say, hey, can you add this to DME? We say, oh, yeah, we can. And that's kind of how it grows.
Do we need additional licenses to implement this? It is a license for the OneCard DME product. There's a base license for the product, which would include obviously the connections with OneCard and to your ERP system. And then as we move into other third-party systems, there can be other licenses for the plugins for those solutions. So what we generally do as we look at pricing is to see what systems you want to connect to, and then we'd be able to put together the price quote showing all the different plugins that you may need for those solutions. The base license being that it's a managed service. So if you need to create or change a rule or whatnot, you let us know and we can handle it. As a company, we handle those changes and those rules for you. Being that it's a managed service, there is an annual licensing fee for the DME, which is a little different than some of our other products. But this does allow us to offer that managed service for our clients and take some of that workload off. Are there network issues going on with DME? What they mean by that is if, let's say, your ERP goes down, if Banner goes down, that server crashes, what happens to the data?
Good question. Okay, so the data is always going to be, it's on your campus in an encrypted SQL database. So if Banner goes down, nothing happens to that data. But that's a good example. Add a Banner client that's using the DME. What the one thing it does do, which is pretty neat, is it sends out email error notifications. So if the DME can't connect to a specific server, or if there are any kind of errors, you'll get an error notification email. The support staff gets the same email, so they know what's going on your campus. But in this one specific case, on one of our clients, Banner went down. And the IT department was first alerted to it from a DME email notification that said the DME cannot connect to your Banner because it went down. So in that case, it just doesn't pull whatever the updates are. And when that gets restored, it gets restored. If that answered the question.
Excellent. Next question is, We are also a Google Apps for Education school. Can you create accounts in GAF or GAFE for us, GAFE for us?
I need to know more about that as to what you're talking about and why you would need that. Um,
Okay,
so I can give you no good answer. I'm sorry.
no problem. Any integration with Aramark. On that one, it really would depend upon what Aramark, what solution Aramark is using. Aramark, as a dining company, sometimes has various point of sale systems at different campuses, and they may be using different back end systems for data exchange. So we would need to just explore what exactly the data is that needs to get to Aramark, or if is it more of a transaction integration as opposed to a data exchange, and we can definitely do that. Uh, I will reach out to you, Cal, and we can begin that conversation. That shouldn't be a problem. Is there a plugin to Moodle? Moodle Rooms hosts the LMS for this campus. So any plugin to Moodle?
No, currently there's no plugin to Moodle, and that's a matter of, once again, what data do you want to get into that system. So when the DME was devised, it was primarily for transaction systems. So OneCard, campus meal plans, door access, the library was up on there. But what it comes down to, if you want data moved from one place to another place, and the DME turns to be the easiest way for you to do that, then sure. For example, I was talking to a school recently who wants to connect. They have a Lucian colleague, and they have, I want to say Adirondack. They have one Adirondack or Star as one of the housing systems, and they want to connect those two, which is something that normally the DME wouldn't do. But it was a manual batch process for them. And so we talked about it and said, yeah, sure, all right. I mean, yeah, if you want that to be more of an automated process, then absolutely. So Moodle's, because it's an LMS, that's typically you get whatever data you need into Moodle from your SIS, but if you don't have a streamlined way of doing it, then certainly you can look at the DME and say, hey, can we make this easier? And that's what's so great about connecting it to the OneCard system, and especially for the campus card folks, what it does and one of the purposes for it is it does help bring that campus card program, more prominent on the campus. I know this is a common refrain at NACU that you've probably seen over the years. It's how do we get seen as a mission critical system? Well, using the DME, this is a mission critical system. If students can't get in their doors or can't use their meal plan, it should be seen as mission critical. So by connecting more systems, that actually helps in your department and spreads out more of what you can do on campus.
That's so true. I 100% agree with you on that, Brian, because it's, these one card systems, one card in general, campus card systems have really evolved into full enterprise-wide solutions that are touching multiple areas of campus, but the viewpoint isn't that they are as elevated or as important as we all know they are, but having the ability now for OneCard to manage this exchange of data with these other systems and then bring it all together for analysis and for to use that data in different ways really does elevate it, as you said. Last question that I see that has come in is, do you host the DME for us? Now, the DME is installed on campus on a server. We haven't hosted it yet for a campus, but that could be done. I believe there'd be an additional cost, of course, for that, but that could be done. But in most cases, we're installing it on the campus, especially since OneCard at this time is a um, installed on a campus server there. It's local, so the DME would just be on another server on the campus. But we can explore the hosting of it. It could be hosted.
There is a hosted option, but there's an additional cost to it, as Fred said, and it's not worth it yet. I mean, it can go on any virtual server. It's pretty small. It can't go on the transaction server, but it can go. A lot of schools will put it on their SIS server, or really anywhere you can drop in SQL Server. But yeah, there is a hosted option if that's necessary.
Okay, I don't see any other questions that have come in. If anybody has any final questions, feel free to type them in now, and we'd be happy to answer them for you. Um, of course, you see here on the screen my email address. If anything pops up later, or you need to want to refer someone else on your campus to me to answer any questions, or to do a direct demonstration or presentation for your campus, just contact me. As I mentioned at the beginning of the webinar, this is being recorded and it will be posted on our website. We should be sending this out to our marketing team today to get posted on the website. Usually we have it up within a week. So just feel free to check back at www.onecard.com, number one, CARD.com, as you see on the screen there. And you should see the webinar there. If you want me to let you know when it's posted, you need the recorded webinar to pass on to another person, just shoot me an email and I'll take that task, I'll take that ball to make sure that you are updated when the webinar is recorded. I don't see any other questions have come in at this time. So Brian, I want to thank you for joining us today and helping me answer these questions. I appreciate you coming online today with me. And thank you all for joining us this morning. Please check back for our other webinars that we have listed on our website and register for any that you feel is pertinent to you. We look forward to speaking with you in the future, and I hope you have yourself a great day. Thanks so much.